We get a mic check, verify mic is live. Mic check, mic check. Can we verify that the mic is live? One more time. Mic check, mic check. Let's verify that the audio is live. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gascleese Damus from GearWorks.com and the E2KG network channel on YouTube, network channel of podcasts covering gaming topics as well as periodically, every once in a while, entertainment. So this morning, I'm going to be going over the Blue Raspberry mobile condenser microphone. This is a combined out-of-the-box and mid-course review. Normally, when I do out-of-the-box episodes, that means that I've actually just taken the product immediately out of the box and haven't used it at all, but I have actually put this to use. There is a link underneath this video that connects you over to a recent episode of the Streamer's Cookbook, which is a weekly, bi-weekly series that I do covering the equipment, hardware, and software and methods for doing game captures and gaming live streams. So you can go over and check that out. That was the first episode that I filmed using the Blue Raspberry microphone, and I used it to record that video along with a pop filter and a wire screen, windscreen. You can see that in the video, and you can hear the audio and make a judgment for yourself as to how good the audio capture is. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the notes that I've taken in my initial outing with this device. All right, so the packaging and provisioning that the Blue Raspberry comes in is really nice. It comes with a pouch. So that is here for you to carry it without scratching up the nice metal finish. You get two cables. So you get a micro USB to Lightning connector for use with iOS devices. We'll come back to that later because that's one of the particular topics to cover with this device. And you get a micro USB to USB-A connector, which you will definitely utilize and need. The other cool thing that's really neat is it comes with a threaded adapter for use for mounting the microphone on top of a microphone stand. I find that particularly useful. This is my Samsung microphone stand that I use with every microphone that will fit it in order to try and isolate it from table vibration and additional audio. To utilize that threaded adapter, you just take the adapter, the stand that it already comes with, and this is pretty neat, and I consider that a nice value add for this microphone, which is designed, like I said, for you to use on the go. You decouple it from the adapter here on the bottom. right? The whole thing comes off with the threaded nut there, and then fit the threaded adapter to there, and then mount the thing on said mic stand. Now, I use this kind of short pole stand for just tabletop use, but this is also targeted for use as a studio microphone. So if you are a singer, performer, or speaker and do other things where you're going to be using this in a standing position, it mounts onto those standard adapters as well. But the standard adapter was one of the big things because I really like the stand that it comes with, but I definitely, like I said, tend to use that Samsung for all of my podcasts and game streams. Now, Blue touts this as being targeted for use for mobile users and people who need to record on the go, like if you're on travel and need to do a podcast, which sometimes happens to me and is a use case that it helps when I have equipment that I can use that for. But if you travel to cons or press events, it's nice that it comes with this integrated and included stand. So you can use it again for noise isolation and help with reverb and feedback that you get from people bumping the table and whatnot. The microphone array, which is Blue's patented internal acoustic diffuser or IAD technology, it's kind of like pointing a phased array radar or a laser beam at your sound source, and laser focuses and isolates that incoming audio to that source while ignoring the ambient and side lobe audio that might be coming in on off-axis degrees on either side of that. I feel like it is helpful and useful. If you go look at that YouTube video, I feel like it definitely captured my voice and not a lot of the ambient noise around it. A little less so in the second part of that video where I'm standing up and I'm moving things around in vicinity of the microphone. But for the standard use case, I think it definitely does that job. So there's one big problem with this microphone, or two, that in combination will create the primary issue that you'll pivot around and determine whether to buy it or not. This is a $200 mic. Now, some people may. So Chris Peary has joined in. He thinks it's a little big. It depends, Chris. I guess in comparison to something like the Blue Yeti, which is the other highly popular microphone from Blue, this is a godsend in terms of portability. The Blue, and I think it performs better than the Blue Yeti microphone. The Blue is really nice, and it's all the rage, and everybody knows about it. But it is a large, obnoxious microphone, and even for podcasting in a home setup, the other big problem that I have with it is just really bad in terms of picking up lots of table vibration, and it's really difficult to noise isolate that thing without completely taking it apart and putting it on a different rig mount. So I prefer this to a certain extent. Like I said, this is more expensive than a Yeti, which will be the other thing people will choke on. But the big problem is that in addition to the price point, which, for anybody who's going to buy this, I'm only recommending this for people who monetize their YouTube channels or their live streams, or people who are just creators who take their content very seriously. But the other big problem is Blue advertises this as a solution for utilizing with iOS devices and recording on the go. It would be really nice if you could plug this in and plug it into an iPhone or an iPad, which is how I originally tried to use it during my testing, and record in GarageBand or something. You could produce really high quality content with that on the go. The problem is it doesn't work. And I think this is an issue of, I'm sure Apple could care less about whether or not Blue's firmware remains supported as they continuously cycle through their versions of iOS. But as far as I can tell, as the iOS versions move and get updated, Blue has been unable to keep their firmware in sync. The other problem is that when I look at customer feedback on that topic, it's pretty appalling. Blue just doesn't really support it and doesn't really care that it doesn't work. I've seen people claiming that it has worked, but it seems to be very sporadic, and it will work for a while and then won't. I've seen lots of comments of people who hook it up and it doesn't work. They disconnect it, hook it back up to their iOS device, and it works for a limited time. And then the next time they go, it doesn't work. So for me, as far as use cases go, it's just not in my framework to queue this up to utilize in conjunction with an iOS device. through the one-time use, I have been very satisfied with the audio quality that I've gotten when utilizing this with a PC, which quite honestly formulates 90% of my use case scenarios anyway. It wouldn't be a huge difference for me whether or not I use this with an iOS device or used it with my laptop at a con or in an on-the-go type of situation. That scenario would work just as well. So for me, I haven't sent it back because I am impressed by its use with a PC or with a laptop. So again, like I said, I would only recommend this for people who are really looking for a high-end microphone. That price range puts it right on par with high-end Audio Technica microphones and other microphones in that category. If you do need a solution for recording to an iOS device or even an Android device, any device, and again, I would say when I say iOS, I would say tablet, right? Because the tablets the iPads are the only ones that still include a 3.5mm connection for microphones and headphones. What you can do is you can use a 3.5mm solution, such as this lapel mic that I use. And this is the type of microphone that I would use at a con or a press event. You have that 3.5mm connection in a desktop scenario, or if you're recording in a hotel room on the go, you can pipe that through something like my little Behringer Xenix 302 USB hardware mixer and just plug it into the microphone port over there. If you get background noise or a ground loop gets created, you can eliminate that by using something like this Behringer DI400P, which will eliminate that ground loop by setting the switch into the lift position. And you can connect the microphone by using a 3.5mm to 1/4" adapter cable to plug into here. And sometimes I will plug that in and then run this output side to the hardware mixer, and that uses an XLR to 3.5mm adapter cable. So again, as cool as it is to have all of the gear, probably the most important thing in my studio production kit, either for at home or on the go, are my cables. So that's going to do it for this out of the box and mid-course impressions of the Blue Raspberry condenser microphone. You can tune in for later commentary on this on my YouTube channel, Rounding Off Infinity, or check over on my blog, gearworks.com. I'll put that link in the comments for this video as well once it posts. Thanks so much for joining in, and if you got any questions, just hit me up via Facebook or Twitter or over on comments on my YouTube channel. Thanks again. That's going to do it for me. I'm out of here.